What up, guys? This is
Cheevo, guys!
back here again with another video. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys some gameplay of Enlisted running on the Xbox Series X. This game is developed and published by Gaijin Entertainment. They've also made games like Birds of Steel, War Thunder, Crossout, and Cuisine Royale. Now, first and foremost, this game includes ray tracing. It's one of the few games that includes it at launch for the Xbox Series X. As you can see, these aren't just flat textures. What's really impressive about the game is not only are the textures really detailed, but on top of that, a lot of the environment is destructible, meaning that you can shoot it and it will fall apart. You're going to see really awesome reflections with the ray tracing. This game has actually been available in beta on PC the past few months. However, it kind of just launched as a launch title for Xbox Series X and S on November 10th. The reason I say kinda is because it launched in Xbox Game Preview, which simply means the full version isn't available yet, and you're basically playing a beta version. Now, traditionally, games in Xbox Game Preview offer some sort of a demo, usually restricted to a few hours. However, at launch, Enlisted does not offer a free-to-play demo or version. But eventually, once this game is ready for its full release, it will be a free-to-play game. However, if you want to get started and play right now, you would either have to purchase the Germany Founders Bundle for $29.99 or the USSR Founders Bundle for $29.99. You can get both of those bundled up for $49.99. The one bundled up is called the Founders Pack. Personally, that's the one that I have. I'll be diving into more detail on what these packs include later in this video. Now, you may be wondering, what is Enlisted? A quick summary would be that Enlisted is a squad-based MMO shooter game reconstructing World War II battles. Each of these online battles includes up to 140 soldiers. Each online player is going to be controlling squads anywhere from 4 to 7 soldiers. And believe me, 140 players or bots on the field makes for a ton of action. Now, at first, players will be able to fight in the Battle for Moscow campaign that recreates the heavy clashes between German and Soviet troops in the outskirts of Russian capital during the winter of 1941 to 1942. The next campaign available is the Normandy Invasion campaign, covering D-Day landing and the following battles. There are more campaigns already in development, including the Battle for Berlin and others. Now, first, I want to clarify Gaijin Entertainment's definition of a campaign, because the last thing I want you to do is purchase this game thinking that you're going to get a single player campaign mode. These quote-unquote campaigns are actually just progression bars, and as you play through the game, you're going to get farther and farther through this progression bar, unlocking more cosmetics, upgrades, and weapons as you progress through the game. So these quote-unquote campaigns are actually very similar to the battle passes that you would see in games like Fortnite or Apex Legends. So I want to clarify, this is purely an online multiplayer game where you play with online players and their squads. Their squads are made up of bots. As you play through the game, you can switch amongst your squad members, and if you were to take over one of your players, basically what would happen is a bot would take your place. So not only is this an MMO shooter, but it's a squad-based one, where you have infantry, ground vehicles, and aircraft fighting together in the same World War II themed maps. The really cool part about this is, again, your squads are 4 to 7 players, so if you die, you don't necessarily need to wait 10 seconds to respawn. You can simply switch to another one of your squad members, and that's basically my number one tip for this game, because if you don't know how to switch squad members, then every time you die, you're going to have to wait up to 10 seconds to respawn. The cool thing is you can set these squads up however you want with whatever type of classes you want. For instance, you can add tank crew members or aircraft pilots. Now, on top of being able to switch and control these soldiers directly, you can also give orders to the AI soldiers in your squad. Now, you're going to notice two things while I'm playing this game. It plays really realistic. If you get shot once or twice, you're pretty much dead. If you happen to be lucky and you're not dead, you can revive yourself, but it takes up to 10 seconds to do so. As you can see, I just revived myself and I'm back in the battle. Now, besides the fact that you can't take too much damage in this game, the other thing that you're going to notice is that you die a lot. And that's just because, again, there's anywhere between 100 to 140 soldiers on the battlefield. So there are a lot of bullets flying across the map. And you may be focused on trying to kill one soldier while another soldier is flanking you, shooting you from the other side. Now, personally, I've never played War Thunder, another game published by Gaijin Entertainment. However, I've heard that this is pretty much the on-the-ground version of that game. Now again, I've never played War Thunder, however it is a free-to-play game that is optimized for Series S and X, so if you have a next-gen console, an Xbox Series S or X, I recommend downloading it. Just because at first, you're not going to have a huge library of optimized for Series S and X games, and that simply comes down to the fact that there weren't really that much available at launch. So if you can get a free chance to see an optimized for Series X or S game, then I recommend doing so, especially if it's for free. So go ahead and download War Thunder. It's also published by the same publisher of this game, Gaijin Entertainment. And in terms of Enlisted, I'm not too sure exactly when this is going free to play, but if you really want to get a chance to play it, you can purchase either one of the $30 packs or the $50 Founders Pack. If you happen to be a big fan of playing Battlefield online, more than likely you're really going to enjoy Enlisted. If you're someone that really wants to play a single player campaign, I wouldn't recommend this game just because it's purely an online multiplayer shooter. Right now I tried jumping into a tank for the first time, however I am not too sure how to use this thing. I'm not too sure if we target with the center circle or the crosshairs. I'm pretty sure it's the crosshairs, and the crosshair goes extremely wild, so it's really hard to aim. Let's see if I can shoot down some of these soldiers. Honestly, I'm not too sure I'm going to be able to do so with the angle that I have my tank at. I think the crosshairs are just a little bit too high. I might just switch to another soldier because this is really just bogging down the video at this point. Oh no, glitched out. I got stuck under my tank. I think I'm gonna have to jump back into it and see if I could reverse it so that way I can get out of it, because if I try exiting it right now, for some reason if I get out, I'm ending up below the tank. And yeah, I'm having no success shooting any of these soldiers with this tank. I totally got it stuck. Alright, perfect, we finally got out. I think the puddles in the game look really good. We have some really good reflections off the puddles. I think that's 100% credits to the ray tracing. The PC version that's been available the past few months actually didn't have ray tracing. They just got the ray tracing update on November 10th when the version came out for Xbox Series X. Now, I also want to point out that if you're a PlayStation fan, I think this game is eventually coming to PlayStation. It has been noted that this is a timed exclusive for the Xbox Series X, and being that Gaijin Entertainment has also published other titles on PlayStation, more than likely this is going to end up being released on PS5 as well. However, I do think that this is exclusive to the next gen consoles. I do not think that a current gen console would be able to handle this game, being that we have up to 140 players or soldiers playing at one time. I think that if the current generation consoles were able to run this game, that this game would also be available in game preview on the Xbox One. However, it is only available in game preview on the Xbox Series X and S. I also want to point out that in terms of this gameplay, originally my plan was to show you a highlight reel of all of my kills. However, I ended up just deciding to show you guys a full 25-minute match. So ultimately, you're going to see some good and some very bad. I don't typically play online shooters. The only online shooter I really ever got into was Halo back in the day, and then Gears of War, which is obviously a third-person shooter, a lot different compared to this, Battlefield, or Call of Duty. So I'm doing my best for you guys. Right now my goal is to get 50 kills total. I think the most I got was like 47 or 48 before, so we are going for 50 kills. Now in this mode, you want to try to dominate the checkpoints. Each of these points are called the strategic checkpoints, and if one team dominates all 5 strategic checkpoints, then that team would win. Also, there is a spawn counter or life counter next to the checkpoints on the top center of the screen that show how many reinforcements are available. I believe each time that you capture a strategic checkpoint, it sends you more reinforcements. Reinforcements are basically respawns, so ultimately your online army has up to 1,000 respawns available. If for some reason the match goes long enough where it is not decided by 5 captured checkpoints, then it can also be decided by whoever runs out of reinforcements first, basically runs out of respawns and eventually runs out of soldiers. So big picture, if you're playing in an online match like this, you have 1,000 kills up for grabs. I think asking for 50 isn't asking for too much. So 50 is the goal. We're going to see how much we can get. I also want to point out that if you haven't already, make sure you go to your YouTube media player settings and switch it to 4K. That is if your device allows it, because I did take the time to record this in 4K 60 frames per second, which is obviously the best way to watch some gameplay on YouTube, especially if you really want to see the benefits of next gen. You want to make sure that you're watching it in 4K, otherwise it's hard to notice a lot of those differences. I think that's what a lot of the YouTube creators, at least the gaming ones, are going to have to get used to, is if you want to see all of the benefits of these next gen consoles, then you need to make sure that you're rendering your videos appropriately. They do take a ton of PC power to, render and publish a 4K video, just because it's really hefty on the RAM and the CPU. So with that being said, a lot of the video game creators don't really have PCs that are going to be able to handle uploading and creating 4K content. For instance, even though my computer is capable of making a video like this, it's probably going to take 4 or 5 hours to upload to YouTube, and then another 3 hours to process after that. So that's about an 8-hour upload for a 25-minute 4K video. So yeah, these 4K videos are really hefty. And again, if you're not watching it in 4K already, make sure that you go to your YouTube media player settings and do so. Alright, so next I want to take a few minutes to explain what you get with the $30 versions of the game. So first, let's talk about the Germany Founders Pack. When you purchase the Germany Founders Pack, it's going to include a premium squad from the 449th Infantry Regiment in the 144th Infantry Division from the Wehrmacht forces in the Moscow campaign. This squad consists of 4 soldiers of the Assaulter class equipped with MP-41 submachine guns, a unique weapon that is available for this squad only. Not only that, but the biggest plus side to purchasing this pack is that it's a premium squad. The soldiers in it, the weapons, are all maximum level immediately upon purchase. The premium units also receive 100% experience gain in battles. So yeah, you're probably thinking, if that isn't the definition of pay to win, then what is? Alright, so that's it for the Germany pack. Now for the USSR Founders Pack, you pretty much get the same thing, except you get a premium squad from the 75th Infantry Regiment in the 5th Infantry Division of the Red Army for the Soviet Armed Forces in the Moscow campaign. This squad consists of 4 soldiers of the Assaulter class as well, equipped with PPK-41 submachine guns, also a unique weapon that is available only for this squad only. Again, the premium squad, the soldiers in it, the weapons, they all have maximum level immediately upon purchase. Premium units also receive 100% experience gain in battles. So let's go ahead and break this all down. How can you play the game? Well, first and foremost, it's in game preview. The only way that you can play it right now is by purchasing one of the $30 Founders Packs. This does include some premium content that's going to help you play the game a lot better, like the premium squad, for instance, that's already all maxed out at max level capacity. And that's basically as simple as I can put it. If you want to play this game today, you would have to play it at a $30 price point. I do want to foreshadow that this is going to end up being a free-to-play game once the full game is ready. But keep in mind, there are already a lot of people that have purchased this game. They appear to want to be supporting the devs, and that's only going to make the game better before the official launch. I can only imagine the player base is only going to get greater once the free-to-play version is released. Personally, the main reason I'm excited for the main release of the game is of course because they're going to add achievements. Right now, as with most game preview games, they do not have achievements while in game preview. So I'll definitely dive more into this game once the full version is released with achievements, just so I can try to, achievement hunt and get some of the achievements knocked out. Hopefully it's a fairly easy completion. I want to say that Cuisine Royale wasn't too hard of a completion compared to some other free-to-play games that are really grindy, so I guess we'll have to see. I'm sure it'll be a little bit of a grind, but hopefully it's not near impossible to get the full 1000 gamer score or eventually platinum trophy, and also hopefully you don't have to spend $500 to do so. The other thing I want to point out is that I was really excited for this game because I thought it actually had a campaign. All over the place, they refer to campaign. Enlisted has a campaign. However, to put it plain and simple, their quote-unquote campaign again, is basically just a battle pass tracker or progression bar that shows you how far you have progressed through the online modes, and eventually as you progress and upgrade in levels on the campaign, you will unlock additional content. So I'm not gonna lie, I did feel a little bit of a bait and switch just because I thought we were gonna get a single player campaign, and it's not that exactly. So maybe the definition of campaign is changing over time. Maybe we should just call it like a story mode. So hopefully they add some sort of story mode, because this game definitely has potential. I mean, they have everything they need here with the gameplay and the environment. All they have to do is, you know, make some sort of story and set it up. Obviously, I'm probably being a little naive and making it sound simpler than it actually is. It probably, you know, takes a ton of work to set up a story mode, but at the same time, you have all of the assets, controls, and gameplay you need to do so. So maybe they'll add it eventually. I think this started as like a crowdfunding game, so maybe they can do some sort of crowdfunding to raise money for a single player story mode. Now, if you made it this far in the video, more than likely you're a true supporter. Either that or you're really interested in Enlisted, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in, especially for these gameplay videos that tend not to do so well on my channel. So if you made it this far in this video, I'd appreciate if you left a comment down below saying Cheevo Clan. I try to sprinkle in gameplay videos here and there. That's pretty much why I don't stream, is just because I found that most people don't really watch my channel for entertainment, but more for guides, walkthroughs, and more informative videos. So I try to mostly post videos like that, but being that I'm capable of uploading these 4K gameplay videos, I want to take advantage, especially because a lot of creators aren't uploading these next-gen videos in 4K 60 FPS, which I think is super important, especially if you want to see the true gameplay of the game. Plus, a game like this, where it costs $30 to be able to play it, it's on next gen, there's a lot of people that have actually requested gameplay for Enlisted via Twitter and Xbox messages, so I wanted to make sure to cover this game on the channel. Right now, I'm trying to cover all of the Xbox Series X launch titles. I've been doing this in a variety of ways, some 4K gameplay videos, and others 4K graphics comparison videos. Now, being that Enlisted doesn't have a current gen version, I wasn't able to do a graphics comparison video for this game, so I decided to just upload footage of one online multiplayer match, which again lasts about 25 minutes. But again, let me look at all those arrows, guys. Those are all of my teammates, all soldiers on the same side that I am. So these battles get pretty epic because they're pretty large, especially when you make your way to a high traffic area like one of the strategic checkpoints. There are just a ton of soldiers trying to capture this checkpoint, so you're gonna find that you're going to end up in some huge battles. Sometimes you have, 6, 7, 8 enemies right in front of you. You almost have too many enemies to decide on which one you want to kill. Out of all of the online shooters I've ever played, this is definitely the most players I've ever seen on one screen at once. I guess we have to take into consideration that a good chunk of these soldiers are bots, because again, one online player controls up to 4 to 7 soldiers in their squad. This really makes the game feel like an all-out war. I mean, having 1,000 available respawns or being able to kill 1,000 enemy soldiers in one match, that's a lot. You're talking about racking up a lot of kills, either that or a lot of deaths. Another thing I forgot to mention about this game is that the aiming sensitivity was extremely high when I first started playing this game. I played a couple matches and I wasn't able to adjust the sensitivity via the pause menu, so I thought maybe the option wasn't included at first. However, you can adjust your aim sensitivity at the main menu. You cannot do it during a game. It really felt at first like the aiming sensitivity was set up for a mouse and keyboard, just because it was really sensitive, guys. I mean, I was getting owned online. I wasn't able to get like any kills because the aiming was so sensitive on the controller. I know some people like that, however, I'm not good at shooters when the aiming is so sensitive. Now, I really like using the sniper rifle in this game. However, I found that it was actually a little hard to use because it kind of roams around a little bit in terms of the crosshairs when you're zoomed in, but you can click in the thumbstick to focus, which helps it. You're just going to run out of focus eventually, kind of like the Call of Duty games. Oh my god, that was a complete fail right there. I had like 7 enemies in front of me and didn't even kill one of them. And that's exactly why, originally, I just wanted to show you guys the highlights of my footage and not the full round, was because, I have clips like that, but whatever. It's because, unfortunately, some of my soldiers have this bolt action rifle where you can only shoot one bullet at a time. And yeah, you got to use those bullets wisely, otherwise you're going to die pretty quickly, especially if you have a few enemies in front of you. I mean, you can't even shoot fast enough to be able to clear out your enemies. You're pretty much just lucky if you can wipe out one or two of them, because more than likely, if you're facing a group of soldiers, you're going to die pretty quickly. See, right here we have that single shot rifle. Okay. Oh yeah, double kill from a distance with the bolt action rifle. Try and do some quick zoom right there. See, you see how rather than respawning or waiting to respawn, I went ahead and just switched soldiers. This made it a lot quicker to, you know, stay in battle and make sure that you're not spending too much time waiting around to spawn. Personally, I felt that this made the game a lot more entertaining because you don't really have any downtime. Sometimes, you know, in the previous video game generations, you'd have long load screens or respawn times, and then, you know, you'd have to pull out your phone, check your text messages or whatever while the game was loading. A game like this, a lot of the next-gen games, as a matter of fact, do not give you an opportunity to, you know, have any downtime or check your phone or whatever, just because there's pretty much no loading times now. It's pretty crazy how much we advance in the next generation. I mean, I know it's not as much of a graphical leap, but in terms of power and, you know, loading times and the amount of time that you spend waiting to play a game, all of those waiting times have definitely decreased. Now, as you can see on the top center screen, we are down to 200 reinforcements. And we're also almost capturing our 5th and final strategic checkpoint. So hopefully we will be winning this match. We're pretty close to doing so. We have about, you know, 20% of the match left, at least in terms of reinforcements available. Now, what I'm curious about is, will you be able to play this game online with some friends and be on the same squad as them? Because that would make this a lot more interesting. However, I do see what they're trying to accomplish here, at least especially from the developer and publisher's point of view. I think the hardest thing about making a free-to-play potentially battle royale game is that you need to maintain a high player base. If you can't fill a lobby filled with 100 players, then you're not going to have a successful game. Now, the reason I think they're smart by doing this is that you can still have matches with 100 plus soldiers, but they will be able to accomplish these matches with a smaller player base because each individual player controls up to 7 soldiers in the game. So you have a battle royale game where you have a ton of enemies on the screen, but each player controls a handful of them, making it so that you don't need as high of a player base to have a bunch of active matches going on all the time. I think that this is a great idea and approach because the game will be able to survive longer without the player base dying out. But on the other side of that, I do think that they should have the option and maybe experiment with modes where you can fill your squads with actual players versus bots. Although, again, you would need a huge player base to be able to accomplish matches like this. But yeah, the developer and publisher is definitely smart. The best thing you could do if you're making a massive online multiplayer game like this or a battle royale game is to have some sort of safety blanket, and it appears that the best safety blanket for games like these are bots. This enables you to still have the game up and running so that the servers don't eventually shut down and all of the achievements or trophies become unobtainable. This is something I absolutely hate to see, is when servers get shut down. Unfortunately, this reminds me of EA. There are a ton of EA games with unobtainable achievements or trophies because the servers shut down. Anyhow, guys, it looks like we got a victory as the Germans. So we're going to go ahead and level up here and we can see how many kills I got total. Wow, I almost doubled my goal. I got 87 kills. 87 out of 1,000. That isn't too bad. And as you can see, a bunch of my soldiers are getting upgraded. And this is basically how the game works, guys. If you happen to tune in for this full gameplay video, just know that I really appreciate your support. If you tuned in up until now, leave some 100 emojis down in the comments below. Other than that, I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. We just hit 20 patrons. I'd like to give a special shout out to everybody in the biggest fan club, including TimG84, AyoJ, The Gaspless, Purple Rain 6, Blackbird, and NL the Dude. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.